When people hear the name Pininfarina, they often think of Italy and iconic cars. But Pininfarina is so much more than an automotive legend.
1951, Battista and Pininfarina met Enzo Ferrari. They fell in love from a professional point of view, and they started designing together the most beautiful cars we all know. Over 100 Ferraris.
Whenever you get into a Pininfarina Ferrari, you understand that this is something unique and something special.
We entered into architecture. That was about 15 years ago.
Beauty plus technology equals impact.
It was not an architectural concept, it was really the soul of the project.
Italian design is often used as a label, but what does it really mean?
Interior design in iconic residences kind of tones down the typical interior design in Dubai. A new sense of luxury, that doesn't scream, doesn't shout, that is not flashy.
When you're entering in a room, you feel that you want to stay there. You just don't want to walk away.
When we were showing the show flat, their eyes just open because they see the curves.
The element that differentiates projects and developers nowadays is creativity.
Branded residences are everywhere nowadays. What separates a meaningful branded project from the rest? Welcome back to the Merit Talks podcast. I'm your host, Harley Jenner, and in every episode, we go beyond property to explore how great people and bold ideas design the way we live, work, and connect. Today, I'm joined by three great people. The first to join us is Michael Belton. For those of you who have not watched or listened to our podcast before, Michael has over 30 years of experience in global real estate development. He has managed over $5 billion worth of assets across the US, Europe, and the Middle East. And today at Merid, he's driving the company's expansion across the UAE and the wider GCC. Our next guests today are from Pininfarina. This is a very special podcast as Merid's flagship project is iconic residences designed by Pininfarina. So today we're joined by Giovanni de Niederhäusern and Chiara Gibertini. Giovanni is the Senior Vice President of Architecture and Product Design at Pininfarina. He leads the global architectural and design innovation across disciplines. His background blends design, technology, and strategic thinking, and he plays a key role in shaping how Pininfarina translates its engineering-driven DNA into architecture and product design worldwide. And Chiara is the Business Strategy and Innovation Manager. She's now based in Dubai, and we'll be seeing a lot more of her here in the office now. And she trained as an architect and brings extensive experience in developing and managing complex, multidisciplinary projects. At Pininfarina, she focuses on strategy, innovation, and partnerships, helping translate design vision into commercially and culturally relevant projects across global markets.
Thank you, Harley, and hello, Michael, and thank you so much for inviting us today.
Thank you for being here. When people hear the name Pininfarina, they often think of Italy and iconic cars. But Pininfarina is so much more than an automotive legend. It is an outstanding design philosophy. So in this episode, we will explore what sits behind the brand, not just the style, the thinking, or the emotion, but the unique approach to quality. This will be a conversation about timeless Italian design. For many people, Pininfarina is known for shaping some of the most iconic cars in history. For people who know the name, but not the story, where did it all begin?
So a little bit of history about Pininfarina. Pininfarina is a company that was founded 96 actually years ago in Torino. 1930, and by Battista Pininfarina. And they started to design and build cars for the royal families over Europe. So it became very successful for doing beautiful cars. One milestone in the history of Pininfarina is 1951, in which Battista Pininfarina met Enzo Ferrari. They fell in love from a professional point of view, and they started designing together the most beautiful cars we all know. Actually, as Pininfarina, we have been designing over 100 Ferraris over the course of our history. Wow. And it was about 20 years ago that our former president, Paolo Pininfarina, understood that the brand could be diversified in other disciplines, okay? And so they started first in mobility. So we feel now that we are not just a car designer or a car manufacturer, we do mobility in general. So mobility strategy, and we design and build any means of transportation, you name them. So it can be an electric scooter, a ropeway, a boat, and so on and so forth. Then there was a step ahead in product design. So we have a large division that is into designing mostly furniture design, lifestyle products, sport apparel, and technology.
Okay.
And last but not least, of course, because we are here at Mered, we entered into architecture. That was about 15 years ago. And over the course of these 15 years, the company has grown a lot, especially in residential real estate, high rise, high end, and of course, branded. And I'm sure we will talk more about branded real estate over the course of the podcast.
Yes, we will. That's a great history. So, Michael, for someone who has worked across global real estate markets, what did the name Pininfarina mean to you before this collaboration began?
I'm a car enthusiast, and whenever you get into a Pininfarina Ferrari, you understand that this is something unique and something special. And I think the DNA of Pininfarina, it's one where it makes people want to aspire to something. And I think that if you don't own a Ferrari, everybody wants to own a Ferrari. And I think that all of those images and all of those feelings really come through Pininfarina's design. And then being an American, if you ask an American, where's your favorite place to travel internationally? You would think they might say maybe England, or maybe they would go to South America somewhere. The top three answers are Rome, Milan, and Florence. Italy for Americans, it's a place where we're able to kind of absorb the culture. We like the family association with Italy. It reminds us of having a family meal. It reminds us of having a nice glass of wine, of getting together. And everybody in America has some Italian relatives. So when you're around them, you just feel special. So I think if you're able to bring that into a residential building, which we're able to do here with Pininfarina, it really becomes a soul. So when we partnered with Pininfarina, and we really viewed it as a partnership, it was not an architectural concept. It was really the soul of the project. And we've worked with them over the last 2.5, almost 3 years now. And every time we're together, we come up with new ideas, new ways to either promote Pininfarina or promote Mered, or to incorporate something into our building. The latest thing that we're trying to finalize is doing the iconic paddle court, which is designed by Pininfarina. And again, oddly enough, it has the same name as our building, and it just shows kind of the heritage, the style, the taste that you get from Pininfarina.
Great. So, Chiara, we have touched on the history of Pininfarina, and it's clear that the company's roots are deeply embedded in automotive engineering. So when you go from designing cars to designing buildings, what needs to change in your mindset and what stays the same?
So I think that they are very connected. Building architecture nowadays, it's becoming something very it's a complex object, especially a tall building like yours, the tower. So you have nowadays the buildings, the MEP and all the part of the engineering part costs almost the double of 10, 20 years ago. So you really have to take into consideration since day zero all this complexity of engineering of the other disciplines. So coming from the car design world is something that makes the things easier for us, because especially for the design for manufacturing and assembly technology, the FMA, we call it like this, we are lucky because we can bring all the technologies and all the expertise from design and building cars into real estate and architecture. So car was since in the beginning was the most complex objects that the humanity ever designed, and nowadays are buildings. So I think that we are a step ahead all the others from this, because it's 95, 96 years that we are doing this. When you're asking what does it change, I don't think nothing, because our motto is beauty plus technology equals impact. So, and I think that beauty and technology are really two words that mean something to us. Beauty, because everything that we want to create has to give back beauty to a city, to the people that use the building, to the person that is stepping in a room, the colors, the materials, the protocol of so the fact that when you're entering in a room, you feel that you want to stay there. You just don't want to walk away, and this is very important for someone who is designing a space. And so coming from like collecting all these disciplines together and having the right merging of lights, materials, colors gives you the beauty. But then you have to embed all the technology part, and you have to take into consideration this from day zero, day -1, because it's very important nowadays that everything, like the quality of the air, technology is not only the smart house. When you enter, you light you light on your lights and you have everything connected. It's also the quality, managing the quality of the air, the temperature, especially here in Dubai. So we have to take care of the technology to reach the beauty, to create impacts on the people.
So, Michael, from a developer's perspective, how important is it that a design partner focuses on performance and systems and not just aesthetics?
Well, I think the easy answer to that is that whenever you design a building from the outside in, the building may look nice, but it's not comfortable to live in, or cannot be comfortable to live in. So whenever you're focused on the inside out, you have to start at the foundation, up to the technology, to the layouts, till you get to the facade. So I think it's very important in our collaboration with Pininfarina, and we really view it that way, to look internally and try to figure out what's going to be the best experience for the people that are going to be living in there. We don't want people to move into our building after they've spent their money on it and say, we really should change this, or I wish we would have had that. We don't want them to change anything, not from the flooring we have, to the kitchen we have, to the walk-in closets that we have. We would like them to move into a building from day one that meets their needs. That starts from the engineering, it starts from a good appreciation of that, and then it moves its way through the architecture.
Okay. So, Giovanni, Italian design is often used as a label, but what does it really mean? And why do people automatically trust something that is Italian designed?
Well, this is the question, no, for Italian design, because we hear more and more, especially in the last few years and months, to talk about Italian style, Italian lifestyle, but what does it really mean? I think that there has been an evolution in the last few years, especially. So up to a few years ago, Italian style was mostly something designed in Italy, maybe something produced in Italy. But I think that Italian style, it has become really a lifestyle then. But nowadays, it's even more than that. I'll just give you an example. No? Michael before was talking about tourism. In Italy, tourism accounts just for 4% of the total national GDP. What does it mean? That the idea of Italy, that most of the cases we have, especially through social media, this romantic ideal place is actually there, but it's not the actual core of Italy. There is a very important data. Last year, Italy overtook Japan, becoming the 4th largest economy for exportation of goods. And this means that there is a solid country behind this romantic idea of Portofino.
Yes.
And the real core of Italy is actually in manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, and engineering, and so on and so forth. So I think that Italian style nowadays has to be seen as something more holistic, and it's not just something ideal, but it's something very solid, which is, especially for design, capacity to deliver at the level of quality that the market is expecting.
So, Michael, you've lived and worked across many different cultures. How do you personally experience the Italian approach to design and lifestyle, and why do you think it fits so well with residential living?
Well, I think that we're all, once again, looking for some type of aspiration in our lives. We're all trying to cope with what's going on with technology. We're trying to figure out how we fit in, and we want some place of home and comfort. And I think that Italy, whenever you think about it, that's really what it brings it down to. It's soulfulness. It's something that has lasted for centuries and centuries and centuries. We all love learning about Italian history. We all love going to Italy. So I think that when you're doing a residential project, it really needs to be the core of what you're trying to deliver. because we're not building in this project a shopping center or a office building. We're building a home. It happens to be a 300-meter home, 300-meter tall home, but it's still someone's home. So if you can have a situation, you can close your eyes and you can imagine coming home after a tough day of work, and you open the door, your wife greets you, your children give you a hug, you go, you have a home-cooked meal. Your neighbor may come over for a cigar in the evening on your terrace. That's what we want to deliver here. And we believe that with Pininfarina, we're really achieving that.
If I may add something about quality, it's embedded in the timeless design, and I think like being Italian means also know how to craft materials, how to use. In the past centuries, we were probably the first one to create and start working with the marble, with wood. Quality is something that always comes at the first place for Italians, I guess. And I think that nowadays buyers became more conscious, more demanding, and less forgiving about the quality. You can recognize where the quality is not embedded in the design. And quality is not something that you experiment. Design is not something that you can experience now walking in a showroom, but it's something that arrives 5 years after the handover, because this is what we do. We choose and we design with materials that age carefully and gracefully, and we design lines that are not out of trends after 1 year. And this is when we say timeless is exactly what we are trying to do.
You know, we have many examples of people coming into our show flat and seeing the connections of the different materials, the stone on the wood to the metal, and those are our buyers, because they come in and they see this very complicated connection of materials and realize that someone really put some thought behind that. We have a very famous footballer who's bought a couple of units with their at Iconic, and when he saw the green marble, he said, "That's it. This is what I love." So I think you're 100% right that people feel that quality. They see something they probably haven't seen before. It may be timeless, but they've never seen it before. So when you're able to design something like that, where someone says, "Wow, I've never seen this detail before," it really just goes back to the time and attention you put in designing the buildings. And we see it every day when clients walk through our properties.
Italian design is often associated with the word quality. How would you describe Italian design without using the word quality?
If I should define quality without using the word quality, I would actually use the word culture, in the sense that, you know, for Italians, quality is something that we have in our DNA. It's part of our culture. It's not just related to the capacity of delivering, as I was saying, but it's really in our mindset, also from a regulatory point of view, from you know, by law, let's say, in the sense that regulations in Italy are very strict. So for us, just to give you an example, sustainability in a building, environmental sustainability, is a commodity, because by law, you have to reach a certain level of performance of the building since the very, you know, day one. And that's why, for example, this is something curious that maybe you don't know. In Italy, certifications like LEED or BREEAM are not really applied, because by law, you anyway reach a certain level of quality and energy performance that, you know, is not very far from what LEED or BREEAM ask you to reach, which is different in other countries, you know, because this is not common. And so I think that by all these aspects, you know, the capacity to deliver, the engineering capacity in the country, the regulation, and so on and so forth, over the course of the years, you know, Italy developed a certain sensitivity toward what we do and what we touch, which is basically what I would define quality.
And Michael, how would you describe Italian design?
So when I think, not necessarily my definition, but I think the definition when you think about Italian design is something very sexy. It's very, very racy. It's very, very chic. And that's the way that I see Pininfarina, and the design that comes through the cars, or comes through the boats, or comes through your watch collection, or the trophies that you design. It's just sleek, and it's sexy, and it's interesting, and people want that. So when we're showing the show flat, if someone has owned a Ferrari or a Maserati, or their father owned one when they were little, when they walk into our show flat, their eyes just open because they see the curves, they see the car they were in. When they go into the master bedroom and they see the bed, which is the seat of a Ferrari in the headrest, they touch that and it just brings out memories. I mean, just the calfskin leather running your fingers. I tell people, just rather, they're like, it just reminds things from them from their childhood, or that first time they were in that car, or maybe the prom they went to. So it just brings up all of these wonderful emotions. And then the challenge is, how do you deliver on that? And I think that's where Pininfarina comes in, that they just take these wonderful moments and they, pen and paper, deliver it.
Yes.
And I don't think we've talked about it yet, but besides telling the architecture of the building, which maybe you can talk about that, how the building has been sculpted, the interior design has also been fully done by Pininfarina. So when you're going to walk in the lobby, you're going to walk in that lobby and you're just going to have these moments that take your breath away. And then when you go up the elevator, into the elevator lobbies that have been designed by Pininfarina, and then into the units themselves, I think it's just going to be an experience where people are buying an asset that will not be repeated, maybe for them in their lifetime. So it's a very, very special, chic, elegant, sexy approach that Italian design brings.
If I may add something to what Michael said, is he thought about aspirational and breathless, and something that will leave you speechless when you enter in a lobby. But if I can do a comparison, to me is like Italian design, and the quality is a tasteful food. We as Italians would always love to talk about food, but when you enter in a space that is designed properly and with the right choice of materials and of experience, it's like having nice and very good food but that after the first bite you don't get bored of, because a lot of new spaces with marbles, with sparkling lights, with all these things and luxury things that leaves you speechless. Most of the times you are bored of these kind of things after the first year, but it's not what you're looking for when you buy your future house.
When you walk through iconic residences, where do you see Pininfarina's design philosophy most clearly expressed?
I really love the project. I'm not saying because I'm here and because the show flat is there, the mock-up of the tower is there, and I really like this project. To me, it's so elegant. It's one of the best that personally I have seen in Pininfarina's portfolio. Also because when it really reminds you of Pininfarina everywhere, the curves, the lines, the decision of the furnitures that our team have done. To me, it's perfect.
Can you talk a little bit about the facade? Because I think it's something. It's a big building, right? It's a tall building, and the facade is striking. How did you come up with that approach?
Indeed, I would say the facade. The facade is the essence of Pininfarina. No, we were mentioning beauty and technology. So in Dubai, you have to create something wow, unseen. Okay, so the effect of having every slab of the building shaped differently, create this kind of wave effect that you have on the building, which is not just beautiful. You know, it's complex, and this is the feature of Pininfarina, the main feature of Pininfarina, the capacity to design something that looks very essential, you know, but then in the end, it has a lot of complexity to be realized behind. So again, our capacity is to standardize the construction process, the design and construction process, as it happens in a car, to do beautiful shapes, complex shapes, with the capacity of taking under control cost, timing, and feasibility and buildability. So the facade to me is the moment in which you see the full capacity of Pininfarina. Then of course interior design, because interior design in iconic residences kind of tones down the typical interior design in Dubai. We are opening here to a wider community, a wider market, so Europeans, Americans, that they're looking for a new sense of luxury, that doesn't scream, doesn't shout, that is not flashy. And I think we reached this essence. And if I have to say, I think we are among the first ones in Dubai to understand that the new market, the new target market that we want to reach is looking for this type of product. And I think in a way we have created a trend, and the rest of the market is anyway moving toward this direction.
Okay.
I think the facade is contemporary, complex, modern, but if you look at the skyline and at the renderings with the image of the building in it, you will think that the building was already there, because I think it gives, it was really tailored, shaped, and designed for that place. And I think this is exactly when we reach the goal in architecture, when you can design something that it looks modern, contemporary, and new, but it was there since the very beginning. It could be there since the very beginning.
Michael, what made the collaboration between Merid and Pininfarina so special from day one?
I wouldn't say it was from day one. All right. I think that it would be easy to say, oh, we met each other, we like each other, we fit well. I think that we've really grown to appreciate each other. We are a design-driven development company.
Yes.
And I think that Pininfarina appreciated that. I think that we did not want to cut corners on quality and not on delivering the experience that we said we were going to set out. I think they liked that, and they worked on that. As far as Merid, we are ourselves, a boutique real estate developer. Even though we do build large projects, we get a lot of the clients through my office, and I want to learn about them. Why did they buy with us? What did they like? Did they buy it because of Pininfarina? Did they buy it because of the materials? What is it all about? So we're very boutique that way, and I think it's the same way with Pininfarina. I've never heard you guys call yourselves a boutique design firm. But I think it's very family grounded, and I try to run my business as I run my family. You try to respect people, you try to be honest, you try to do the right things, and we've really seen that with Pininfarina. And I can't say that we're maybe their favorite developer, but probably in the top few percentile on that, because we really believe in what you do. We really bring that to the market. The reason why we have this podcast today is for people to see who is Pininfarina. So I think that the way that we work together is very nice. Pininfarina have invited me to the opening ceremony in Italy for the Winter Olympics, and thank you very much for that invitation. That's the type of a relationship that we had. There was a wonderful dinner for Pininfarina's key clients that we had recently. I was there. It was amazing. So we like this interaction with our partners, and we think it's a relationship we're going to grow. Our success is their success is our success, and it really has been so far a win-win, I think, for both of us, and it's the way we want to grow our business.
Branded residences are everywhere nowadays. What separates a meaningful branded project from the rest?
Well, first of all, yes, everyone is talking about branded resi today, especially in Miami and Dubai. So it's a very significant moment for this market, and I'm happy because we as Pininfarina, we have basically mirrored the growth of this market. We started about 15 years ago with the first branded project in Brazil with Cirela. And since then, the market has grown exponentially, and it is expected to grow exponentially until 2030 with more than 1,200 schemes globally.
Wow.
So what makes a great branded resi project today, I think, is the consistency between the brand and the real estate product. And how can you make sure that the consistency is there? Well, through design. And that's why I think Pininfarina became so strong in the market, becoming the first Italian brand in the world for a number of schemes. We have more than 40 schemes nowadays, because we always kept the design in-house. So we have a design team of about 110 people divided across US and Italy. And I can, you can be sure that every time you see the logo Pininfarina on the building, everything has been fully designed by us, interior, exterior, amenities, and so on and so forth. This doesn't mean that we don't have a collaborative approach, because you might expect that car design is a very top-down way of working. It's not. It's actually very collaborative.
Okay.
And so we have a very horizontal organization in terms of creativity and delivery, but we have also a very collaborative approach with all the other stakeholders of the project. They can be the engineers, the local architects, the developer, of course. And I think today this is very necessary in design, because again, when you deal with such a complex object as a building is, you really need to work more horizontally. It's impossible to work the old way in which the architect, closed in his own office, can define all the elements. It's simply impossible because it's too big, it's too large. And in car design, I have to say that I've really found the methodology and the mindset to work in this collective and collaborative environment.
Branded residences, if there is a brand that adds some substance and value behind it, it's important. I don't think that you can be a branded residence that sells wooden floor, right? Or lighting fixtures, or maybe even furniture. I think the top demand for branded residences are usually in hospitality. Why? Because afterwards you can get the services of a hotel. You can go to the spa, you can use the facilities, the restaurants, all those wonderful things that we want. Second is automotive, because of all of the aspirational qualities that automobiles derive and all the design that's behind it. And I think we are right there with Pininfarina in that mark. So if it was a Mercedes tower, you only have Mercedes.
Yes.
We have Pininfarina. We have a full spectrum of potential buyers who will see quality in their design, and they will really feel what it is that they wanted from that project when they come in through the lobby, through the elevator lobby, through to their unit, and then on through the amenities and all of the other services. The one thing I think that buyers need to be careful is when they invest in what's called, a white brand, which is something that someone kind of made up, and they expect you to pay for that. There's no substance behind it. So anybody who's listening to this who wants to buy a branded residence, you really need to understand what's behind that brand, and is there really connection back to the brand? Because if it's a piece of furniture or a crystal light fixture, there's probably not too much there. And in development, especially through a design-driven developer like us, we need to have the architecture really become the core principle to that brand.
A lot of brands jumped in the branded racing markets, and most of them you can feel that it's only a label on a building because it's their first time. We do this since 15 years. We know how to craft and how are the rules of this market. And this is exactly what we are trying and striving to not to do. And we like to define ourselves quiet luxury, because especially in markets like Dubai or Miami, you really want to stay away from logos and labels and all these kinds of flashy renderings that are everywhere. You want to be consistent. You want to offer an experience to the final user. You want to be authentic. And this is the reason why we like to call ourselves quiet, because it's like not staying below the line, but staying consistent to what we are and what we have been in the past.
Okay.
Great. So I think it's very clear from our conversation that true Italian design is not about trends. It's about luxury, it's about quality, it's about feelings. And I'd like to end this podcast by asking a few questions that I ask all of our guests. So what does luxury mean to you?
I try as much as possible not to use the word luxury anymore. I think luxury in a way connects, to doing something amazing for some happy fews. Well, I think we need to have a more inclusive sense of luxury. And for me, luxury nowadays is what I call the economy of creativity. So
Okay.
how in doing amazing and beautiful things for some happy fews, we can involve others and enhance their creativity and creativity at large. So today, especially, when we talk about Italian design, luxury for me is really enhancing and maximizing creativity.
I've been involved in these podcasts now for a while, and I think the favorite answer that I've heard, which I'm now owning, is luxury is when you have the time to do the things you want with the people you want. And as we get older, and I'm the oldest one up on this panel today, that's really for me having the time to go ahead, go on that ski trip with my family, have a nice summer vacation, have an unlimited budget on restaurants with my family and friends. For me, that's really what a luxury is. It's not the hard flooring that we put in the building, right? It's not the bed that I sleep in, which is nice, but really that luxury of time. And the older you get, I think the more you really appreciate that.
Yeah, I was thinking to be more superficial, and to me, like, luxury is something that makes you feel better.
Hmm.
I don't either comes from the fashion, something that you want to wear, something that is in a way aspirational, but then when you have it on yourself, you feel better. And same as is in a space, it's not because of the price of an apartment, it's not because of the cost or the positioning, but when I'm inside, I feel better.
And what matters the most to you when choosing a property?
I don't think there is one only thing. I think it's a mix of sensations, positioning, location.
So we're talking here about branded real estate, right? So I think that what drives or would drive my choice is very much the experience that the building can convey, and the
Okay.
values. And this, most of the cases, can be quickly and easily summarized by the brand itself. I think that in the next few years, we will see a transition in the market, because nowadays, as Michael was saying, the real estate market, it's still kind of a white label market. So you choose a piece of real estate mostly based on price, location, and status. But I think that in the future, the market will move more and more in starting from the brand, as it happens for a car.
Yeah.
If you think about when you buy a car, you don't start thinking about the engine or the characteristic. You start from the brand, and then you move into the model, and then into the characteristics. And this is proven, from neurosciences. And I think that we can and we will apply this model to real estate more and more in the upcoming years. And this is branded real estate at the end.
Yes.
So if I can reply again, is emotions. It's the emotion that of course, I can be attracted from the brand, from the location of a building, of a property, from where my friends live, probably. But then the emotions that I feel when I walk inside the building, and these are given by lights, materials, again, all these stuffs that are created by the architecture. I'm really a strong believer that design can gives you the good perception or bad perception of a space. So emotions, yes.
And my final question, what do you think will matter most to future generations in their homes?
When we look at future generations, first of all, they start from values. So a brand or a product needs to enhance values that are relevant to them.
Yeah.
And I think that this is already happening, because when we look at trends, we need to look at new generations. Basically, new generations nowadays. It wasn't like that in the past, but nowadays they are the trendsetter, because even older generations, through social media and stuff, they look at them to understand, what do they want, and they, new generations, they influence a lot the end user choices at all levels, especially in luxury. And it's very important for them, as I was saying, the values that they see behind an initiative, a project, a brand. So we need as Pininfarina, but I think also, in real estate, to understand what's next. It's not just about, again, the design. It's not just about the positioning, but how, in a way, we are also giving back to the community, to the local
Yes.
community, how we are contributing to problems that are now global problems. So even if it's a small piece, because of course we cannot change the world with the building, but how we are, anyway, moving towards something which is a better world. I think this is the way to engage with them. And I think there's a lot, to do, especially in real estate and construction, that in the end is still a very traditional market.
And Chiara, what do you think will matter most?
Values plus well-being, so quality of the place they are living in, the quality of the air, the quality of the lifestyle they can experience in a building. So of course also the amenities, it's an important part that we haven't talked about it, but the gym, the open spaces, the shared spaces where you can have and where they can meet. Usually we really like to talk about creating communities in our buildings and in our properties, because we think that people with the same values are attracted by the same things, to the same properties, so they can find themselves, each other, all in the same tower, and they can start sharing and creating something new that is properly a community. And so I think that yes, the well-being and the lifestyle, it's what will matter the most for the next generation.
Yeah. Michael, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that there's a huge push to, wellness. It's again another very important part of luxury, taking care of your body, the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat. So I think wellness will be something that we will continue to I think to push and to deliver into our projects. And yeah, I think that it'll be an interesting road that we're on to see how things develop. We hope to develop a lot more with Pininfarina, and I thank you guys for coming today and sharing with the Merit audience, the soul behind the project. And yeah, it's been very nice having this discussion with you today.
Thank you so much for inviting us. It has been a pleasure, and of course, we look forward to connecting more and more also with the public to update about the evolution of the iconic project.
Thank you for having us, and now let's start thinking about what is coming next.
What's next?
Yeah, next
Okay.
podcast soon.